Welcome to Grammar Unit 3, Pronouns. In this video, we'll quickly review what pronouns are and what functions they serve, and then we'll begin to explore the different types of pronouns. Be sure to take notes on your pronouns handout as you watch and listen to this video. So what are pronouns? Pronouns are words that substitute for nouns or other pronouns in a sentence. Antecedents are words that the pronouns replace. Let's look at some examples. Sally wondered if she should adopt a pet. The panther waited patiently until it was sure that the hunter was alone. In both of these sentences, the pronouns she and it replace nouns that come earlier in the sentences. She replaces the noun Sally, which is its antecedent, and it replaces the noun panther. In these videos, you will see that I have used dark red to identify pronouns and bright red to identify nouns and noun functions. The young wizard was petrified of the spiders because they threatened to eat him. In this first sentence, the first pronoun they refers back to and replaces the noun spiders, which is the object of the preposition. The second pronoun him replaces the noun wizard. In our second example, the pronouns both and themselves refer to the noun dragons, so they both have the same antecedent. So what do pronouns do? Because pronouns replace nouns in sentences, they serve the same noun functions as nouns do. Let's take a minute and review noun functions. In your notes, write down the following 7 noun functions. It's going to be really important to remember them in order to identify and use pronouns correctly. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. Nouns function as subjects, predicate nominatives, direct objects, indirect objects, objects of prepositions, appositives, and object complements. Here are example sentences of how nouns function. Again, feel free to pause the video if you want to copy down these examples. There are 9 types of pronouns that are used in different ways in sentences. This is an overview of the 9 types of pronouns: personal, indefinite, possessive, demonstrative, reflexive, intensive, reciprocal, interrogative, and relative. In this video, we are going to cover the first 3: personal, indefinite, and possessive. Personal pronouns replace general or specific names of nouns. So if we think back to our first example sentence, Sally wondered if she should adopt a pet, the pronoun she replaces the specific name of the noun Sally, its antecedent. Here is the list of personal pronouns, which are divided by their functions. The pronouns on the left, I, we, you, he, she, they, and it, serve as subjects and predicate nominatives in sentences. The pronouns on the right, me, us, you, him, her, them, and it, function as objects in sentences, such as direct object, indirect object, and object of the preposition. These differences in function are called case. I'm going to flash forward for a minute to introduce this concept of pronoun case, but we'll continue to review this idea later. Pronoun case is determined by the purpose or the function that the pronoun has to play in the sentence. So the subjective case is required if the pronoun serves as a subject or a predicate nominative that renames the subject after a be verb. The objective case is required if the pronoun is used as an object, such as a direct object, indirect object, or an object of a preposition. Let's look at an example. In our example sentence, we have two pronouns, they and them. The pronoun they replaces the noun children, and them replaces the noun roller coasters. Those are their antecedents. In the second clause, the pronouns serve two different purposes. The pronoun they acts as the subject of the verb will ride, so it is in the subjective case. The pronoun them acts as a direct object, receiving the action of the verb will ride, and so the objective case is used. As you look for pronouns, identifying verbs and their types will help you identify the pronouns and their functions. The second type of pronouns are indefinite. Indefinite pronouns identify nouns in a general way or non-specific way. Here are some examples of indefinite pronouns that you can write down in your notes, but there are many more. Looking at our example sentence, the pronouns everyone and several identify group or a number in a general rather than a specific way, and no one does not point to a specific person. Everyone in the class watched several of the videos, but no one watched Harry's. Our third type of pronouns are possessive. These pronouns show ownership of antecedents, and they include the possessive forms of indefinite pronouns. Please note, do not confuse the possessive pronoun its with the contraction it', which is it is. Remember, pronouns must serve noun functions in sentences. In our example sentence, Harry created a video, but no one watched his. His replaces the noun video and serves as a direct object of the action verb watched. Let's flash back for a minute to compare possessive pronouns with adjectives. Remember, adjectives modify or describe nouns or pronouns. In this sentence, no one watched his recording. His is acting as a possessive adjective because it is modifying the noun recording. If we compare our sentences now, Harry created a video, but no one watched his. It's different than Harry created a video, but no one watched his recording. In our second sentence, his is acting as a possessive adjective and not a pronoun. Let's look at a couple more examples of comparisons between possessive pronouns and possessive adjectives. In the first sentence, the melted popsicles were ours. Ours is a possessive pronoun acting as the predicate nominative because it renames the subject popsicles and follows the be verb were. But in the second sentence, the word our is acting as an adjective to the noun that it's placed right next to, popsicles. In the next sentence, the responsibility is everyone's. The possessive pronoun everyone's is also acting as a predicate nominative because it follows a be verb is and it renames the subject of the sentence responsibility. But in the next sentence, fixing the problem is everyone's responsibility. The word everyone's is acting as an adjective because it is modifying the noun it is right next to, responsibility. Let's take a minute to practice. Pause the video, follow the labeling instructions for the first example sentence on your handout, and then let's review together. Remember, Identify the verbs by type, underline all of the pronouns, and then label them by type and noun function. How did you do? Finding the verbs first in a sentence will help you identify the clauses, nouns, and pronouns. So hopefully you identified the 3 action verbs, loves, ate, and devour, and the auxiliary or helping verb, did. The 5 pronouns in the sentence are he, most, you, he, and yours. He is a personal pronoun, and it serves as a subject in both of these clauses. He ate and he did devour. The second, most, is an indefinite pronoun, and it serves the function of a direct object. What did he eat? Most. Remember, a direct object will not be in a prepositional phrase, which is why I put of the Haagen-Dazs in parentheses. Our next pronoun is you. It's also a personal pronoun, and this one does serve as the object of the preposition for. The last pronoun in the sentence is yours. It's a possessive pronoun, and it serves the function of the direct object for the action verb devour. That's the end of part 1. I will see you next time for part 2 of pronouns.